Hello everybody, today is the 25th anniversary of the Japanese release of Dragon Quest VI on the Super NES, and I thought I'd do a little video here talking about the opening of the game and what I like about Dragon Quest VI in general. So at the start of the game you wake up and you're about to go to the Demon King's castle. You're starting at the end of what would usually be a typical Dragon Quest game. There's some nice fire effects here at the beginning. You'll see the glow off the fire. I think this is something that the developer Heartbeat that did Dragon Quest VI and Dragon Quest VII are particularly good at, is these little effects that you see. You see them as well in Dragon Quest VII, which is an incredibly ugly game, but the fire effects are very nice. This, however, is one of the prettier Super NES games, I think. It's definitely up there with your Chrono Triggers, your Final Fantasy VI's, and what have you, as being one of the better looking games. See here, she throws an ocarina up in the air. There must have been something in the air about ocarinas at that time. If you think about later on with Zelda, other media from Japan, anime and whatnot, you would see ocarinas all the time. They are a fun instrument and they do make some fun noises, and you hear with the sampling from the sound chip here that they have a nice approximation of an ocarina sound. Get this dragon here that you see on the front of the game. This game came at an interesting time for Akira Toriyama in that Dragon Ball was wrapping up now. The manga and the anime, I believe, were wrapping up around this time, and so this was at the very end of Dragon Ball Z as you would have seen it on the television, and so the characters have a very late Dragon Ball look to them. The main character looks a lot like Gohan, who's Son Goku's son in the show and the manga, and he has the kind of Gohan hair but blue. You might recognize him from the front of the game box or having seen him. And I remember that in the early days when Dragon Ball and Dragon Quest certainly weren't known to me, but Dragon Ball was, you would see some pictures of Dragon Quest guys with swords and you think, oh, what Dragon Ball movie is this from, or what part of the manga is this from, because I don't recognize Gohan here with a sword. And you'll remember that, well, you might not remember, but there's a bit in the when he's fighting one of the Boo guys or something like that, where he gets a magical sword, and he has a similar sort of look to the art of a Dragon Quest character there. In the castle there's not much going on. Hassan says there that he smells monsters, but there's no monsters around, and so this is where things start to seem a little bit fishy in the game, and that's one of the running themes throughout this. So the title of the game is the in English I think it's the Realms of Reverie, and in Japan I think it was something like the Land of Dreams or the Land of Illusion. And the basic premise of this one is that there's two parallel world maps. There's one that's the real world, and then there's one that's the dream world, and you travel between them. The thing that they don't tell you is that perhaps the real world and the dream world aren't in the order that you think they might be. And you'll see here actually a little bit of a telltale sign when I realize that you have to open this door. See that kind of strange mist on the inside of the door, and when you go in it's all psychedelic colors and whatnot, and you'll see that the Demon King is mocking you. He's saying, oh, you'll never be able to do anything about my power, and he flings everyone around. And then we get what would be the opening of many an RPG after this sequence. You know, what's certainly the opening of Chrono Trigger. Dragon Quest III opens in a very similar way, and Dragon Quest III had been remade using the same engine. I think it'll be remade rather the year after this, 1996, it was remade using the same engine as Dragon Quest VI, which is what tends to happen with Dragon Quest games. They tend to do a remake and a mainline game around about the same time and stagger the releases, which is what the speculation is. Next year is the 35th 35th anniversary. No, 30. What year is it next year? 2021. It's the 35th anniversary of Dragon Quest next year. And the thinking is that there's going to be some sort of remake of one of the games. 9 is due for a remake, and then 10 would be due for a remake. 10 is going on about 10 years of service now. It came out 2012, so it's getting up there. I don't know if they'd necessarily remake a multiplayer game like that. I can't think of many instances where you see that sort of revamp of an MMO, or at least sort of redoing one that's already been out. So at the start of this game, you wake up now, what seems to be the start, or would be in any other game. You wake up in your village. I love that little sun flare there. And you find out that you need to go deliver some goods to a nearby town to raise money for the festival, the annual harvest festival, or whatever it is that you're doing. And so the village elder gives this to you, and you have to go haggle with people down the mountain and see if you can get the best price for it. And there's some fun in games there where you go over to each merchant and you say, oh, he says, I'll give you this much money for it. You say no, and then you go to the next guy. He says, oh, he said he'd give you this much. Well, I'll give you this much. You say no, and you play them against one another till you can get the best results. Now, I didn't go rifling through drawers or smashing pots or anything, or looking in barrels, because I just wanted to get to something I really love about this game, is that you are starting off your quest, you're going down the mountain, and you're going to get into a fight. And Dragon Quest being Dragon Quest, you expect to see a slime, and then you see this guy, and he's a slime, but he's a weird looking slime, and that's when you start to think that maybe things aren't as they seem, and that's where the adventure really kicks off for Dragon Quest VI. A great game.